English B class this is your video for the 19th of March. Hey, I am going to post this in messages and I want you guys to watch it. I know it's been a while since we've had a class and some things going on. Tomorrow, um, I'm hoping we can actually meet up for a discussion and get that going on. I asked a question in this video last time and I only got a response from like a couple students. So obviously it wasn't that clear from me, which is okay. Like when it's only a couple students, I'm like, yeah, the problem's probably that I wasn't so clear on it. So here's what we're gonna do. Tomorrow we'll meet up and we'll get some time to uh, talk about it a little bit. I'm gonna ask you the same kind of question, but I want a I want just everybody to be on chat. We'll see how it goes. Let me know if you're sick or something, and we can get we can adjust accordingly. Uh, there's not much to report these days. I'm giving you guys lots of time, as you can tell. And some of you, there's a couple people who wrote, and they're like, "Are we just analyzing book 21 and 22?" And my answer to that is like, yeah, pretty much. I mean, I really want you guys ready to write an essay on this thing uh, tomorrow or Tuesday morning. When you get this thing, you got a couple hours there, and so it's going to look good. This is a summative task, all four criteria. So I really want you to know your stuff and be ready for it. And there shouldn't really be, you know, an excuse for not doing that. So this is like your time to ask, like, what does that question look like? One of the things I'm looking in this essay, I should bring it up. Each one of those paragraphs, you should have some kind of quote from the text in there. And a common mistake with the B class is that people just drop a quote in, like they'll have sentence and then a period, and then they'll just have a quote and then a period, and then they'll have another sentence. It's not the best style. Like, kind of like you guys learned in PYP, it's a good idea to transition your paragraphs and transition what you're saying so that your essay flows together pretty well. I remember when you guys were doing the exhibition in grade 6, with Miss Page, I remember hearing you guys talking about like trying to transition some of that, what you were speaking to the next thing, or at least that's a common thing with the exhibitions and what something you work on. Now it's the time to kind of do that for a quote. So the way it should go, right, if you're using a quote, is you always kind of want to introduce it, and you want to have a point for why you're introducing it. You don't want to say like Odysseus says blah 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 blah, but you could say something like Odysseus proves that he is sexist when he states, boom, put the quote in there, and then you always kind of want to have a transition after the quote. And a good starter for that would be something like this shows that Odysseus doesn't care about what happens to his wife. Period. Before that period, you should have some kind of a citation too. Kind of confusing here, but you can ask me questions about it. Basically, like anytime you put a quote into your essay, you should always ask yourself, like, and you should always try to put your own words before it and after it in the same sentence, right? So like one of those body paragraphs that's in your essay, you're going to be kind of introducing your idea. And when you get to an area where you're going to support that idea with evidence from the text, you got to make sure that you got some words giving people a heads up on what you're going to tell them, and then tell them what you told them after you have that quote in there. It just makes it a lot more organized, makes you sound a lot more professional, and really gets your point across a lot better. It's a bit like, some of those words, transition words we use between paragraphs, where like you say, secondly, and then you have your second point, and then you say, furthermore, you say your third point, and people teach you these transition words so that it keeps the argument going. Putting your own words before and after a quote is the same idea. Basically, it helps transition a little bit. Keep this in mind. Last video I had on Tuesday, I talked to you guys about the organization of the essay. Today I'm telling you a little bit about putting the quotes in there. Yes, today I really want you If you haven't yet, if you've used the English time to like go for a walk or something, really sit down and make sure you're reading book 21, 22, so that you're ready for when I give you this other sheet of paper and say, write me an essay. You got a good one, because this one's going to look professional and clear. And keep in mind these videos and things that are happening too. Hey, because of the serious nature of the task, I opened a Dropbox. It's on ManageBack right now. I just made an assignment because I was like, this is a good way to do it. It's a pretty easy assignment. It's due tomorrow, early in the morning. And sometime today, what I want you to do is throw in a Word document into that that Dropbox, and all you got to do is tell me, like, do you understand the analysis? Do you understand what's expected of you on Tuesday? Right? The instructions to the best of your abilities. Do you know what's going on? You know that things happen. The reason for this is obviously it's a timed one, so you got to be there during the time. And if somebody's like, "Oh, I slept in," I want to make sure that you understand that you need to be awake and writing during those hours, right? So I made a formative task in that Dropbox, with the exception of one student who already sent me a message saying their answer. But everybody else in that Dropbox put in either like a yes, I understand the assignment, or write in there, write me a question, call me up, ask me a question, email me, something like that. But give me your questions until you can put a yes in that Dropbox. For the people that don't have a yes in the Dropbox by tomorrow morning, probably going to be making some phone calls home just to let parents and people know that, hey, there's a test on Tuesday. It's a time thing. But I put the maturity and the responsibility on you guys first. So yeah, all you need in that Dropbox is 3 letters, YES, and then you get an 8. If the Dropbox is empty, and you haven't asked me a question about not understanding it, I'm gonna put a 0 in there. So one or the other. Make sure you're watching this video. Make sure you turn something in there or ask me a question about it. And you guys are cool. Tomorrow for the class, let's try to meet up. So do a little talking about this thing, see if we can get a review, and maybe I'll ask you some questions to see who's around and who's read the stuff, and make sure we don't forget about each other. It's a lonely world out there, and everybody's inside. So hey, while you're inside, why don't you go ahead and wash your hands? It's probably a good idea. I miss you guys.